Newmark, and I am the publisher and editor-in-chief of Chicken Soup for the Soul. And I'm here today with my friend, Dr. Mike Dow, who I like to call America's go-to therapist. And Mike and I have made a completely new kind of book. We have combined Chicken Soup for the Soul stories with Mike's really practical, easy to implement advice to help you solve your own problems without even going to a therapist.
We are going to teach you how to train your own brain to be your own therapist. We'll walk you through 24 of the most common issues I see in my own practice. Let's start with a chapter on how to stress less and embracing your calm.
Yeah, and I really need this. So we put a couple of my favorite stories in here. So the first one, it's by April Knight, and you loved it too. And
I did.
I love the fact that April was always a really anxious person, and then somehow she just decided one day she was going to start writing down all of her problems. So if she had money problems, family problems, her car was making a funny noise, she wrote every single problem down, and then she put all her problems in a box, and then she went back and looked at them a month later, and she discovered that they either didn't happen at all, or they were much less horrible than she expected them to be, or they solved themselves. And then the other story that I loved that you and I picked is by Marilyn Turk, and she had a teenage son who was so stressed about his schoolwork. She found him in tears one day, and she thought about how she took big amounts of work at her job and turned them into tiny little tasks, and she taught her son how to do that, how to take a mountain of work and turn it into what you call little tiny molehills.
Yeah, that's right. I love the way that they were training their own brains. So let's look at the workbook now to see how you can actually train your own brain. So here's what you do. List 5 of your old worries that have now been resolved.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? You write them down, and then what happens next?
And then consider how those 5 worries got resolved. Was it because A, it never happened at all, B, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, or C, it solved itself without any action on my part? So then go ahead and next to each item 1 through 5, write A, B, or C. And isn't it amazing how that in and of itself can help to decrease our worries?
So I have to tell you something. When we were coming here today, I was so stressed about getting here because I actually went with my family on the Warner Brothers studio tour first, and it's really hot out here in Southern California.
Sure is.
And I was so worried I was going to be a sweaty mess and I was going to be late and this and that, and it all worked out just fine. And now I feel so silly for having worried about it. I have to remind myself of that. I have to fill out this.
Well,
this
I know
guided journal.
now that it's a past worry that got resolved, you can put it on your list.
That's right.
The next thing you can do on this workbook, how do you change the act? Well, just break those mountains into molehills. Write a list of the things that need to be done and then focus only on that first item on that list, mindfully, with all of your attention. And Amy, isn't it so incredible that with this simple little task, everything seems doable, everything seems just a little bit easier?
Yeah, you know, I've learned that I don't look at the forest, I only look at the trees. I look at my to-do list in little tiny pieces, maybe not even trees, it might be like little branches of each tree, because otherwise my brain will explode.
Yeah, me too.